Good morning. Thanks to those who have joined today's event so far. We're going to get started at 10 a.m. sharp, so we'll just give it a couple more minutes and then we'll begin. Many thanks. Again, thanks for those that have joined so far. We're looking to get started at 10 a.m. sharp. Please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat section. And again, we'll look to get started at 10 a.m. sharp, so in 1 minute's time. Thank you. Okay, so good morning, everybody. And firstly, thank you for attending our first webinar of 2023. We're excited for this event and it's a pleasure to have you here today. My name is Adam Bennett. I'll be your host for today's event. And I'm also joined by my colleague and our head of our education team, Darren Hines.
Good morning, everybody.
Thanks, Darren. So just before we begin today's event, just want to run through a couple of quick things, just so you're all aware of what will happen on today's event. So the webinar is going to be broken down into two parts. So the first part, we're going to look at the key challenges that you guys have faced in 2022 when it comes to issuing and printing student ID cards. And then part two, we're going to showcase our approach and we're going to detail where the time can be saved and where we can reduce the staff workload. If you'd like to take notes, then please feel free to do so. However, a recording of the event will be sent to you via email post-event. Now, there'll also be around 5 minutes at the end of the event for a questions and answers session. So if you do have any questions, please save them until then. That's all from myself. I hope you enjoy today's event and take something from it. And I'll now hand you over to Darren to get started.
Thanks, Adam. Just a quick introduction for myself. As Adam said, I'm the head of education here at Digital ID. I have 20 years experience working in project management and customer services. For the last 8 years, I've been looking after some of the larger public sector customers for Digital ID and introducing streamlined processes at some quite large organisations like the House of Commons estate and the NHS. Back in July last year, I was asked to move over into the education team. And for the next 6 months, I've been on a bit of a whistle-stop tour all across the UK, speaking to as many organisations, universities, colleges as possible, just to try and to gain an understanding of the sector, and mainly to see where I can help you guys, make your job a little bit easier. Next slide, please, Adam. So we all know what this looks like. Enrollment. Now, when I first came into the role, the three things that came to mind, especially around July to September last year, was disruption, panic, pressure, and overall a poor student experience, but not just for students, but for staff as well. So taking away everything that we looked at and speaking to yourselves when we was on site and the research that we gained from that, we're going to try and change this. So let's have a look at some of the challenges that you mentioned to us from 2022. The first one being legacy software, the management of enrolment staff, untrained staff, the management of multiple sites, an outdated image capture process, face-to-face card issuance just not scalable, delayed technical support response times, and extended lead times on products. Now, we also know, along with them headaches that you do have additional extras to work towards. Them being you're targeted to go digital, and of course, to source sustainable purchasing or products. Next slide, please, Adam. So as we stated earlier, my aim is to look at them challenges and implement or try and implement ways of where we can help save you time, money, and more importantly, stress. And of course, we have to look at where does that 40% figure come from. So we've broken down ID card production into 3 key areas. The first one being data capture and verification, credential issuance, and then credential management. So the first one, data capture and verification. So this is changing daily. And for me, cloud-based software and new softwares means flexibility for you guys. So we can offer lots of different solutions now, which help you manage, verify, and check credentials all through one portal. You can put the onus back onto the student, and you can start this process off whenever. It doesn't have to be a month before, 2 months before. It can be as soon as they apply for the college course or university course. They can upload all their information, which then get verified through a system. Then you guys, all you need to do is just check, click, and verify, and make sure that everything is correct. It's a full student onboarding process these days. Imagine getting to welcome week and everything being done ready for you. Next, please, Adam. When we talk about credential issuance, this again has changed. The word credential really means card. But as you can imagine these days, with the move to digital, you can now instantly generate a virtual ID card that can be sent to a student's phone or staff member's phone. Within that virtual ID card, you can then grant them access to the buildings or to cashless payments. We also have the legacy printers. Now, at the moment, certain sites, you might have 20 printers scattered all over campus. New processes now means that you can manage and maintain that fleet of printers remotely. You can also offer the choice to students where they collect their cards or credentials from, and when they do that. So rather than having one centralized area with staff members sat in a hall printing non-stop throughout the day, you can streamline the process a little bit more. A very good idea, which was brought in last year, is students now can do, as we said earlier, all their data input online. Once that's been verified yourselves, you can use a bureau system that will print off their card and send it directly to the house. So before they get to campus, they have everything that they need. All these new innovations will take the pressure off you and the team. Next, please, Adam. Now, what happens when you've offered that credential to the student or a staff member? We now need to look at a management solution. What happens after? What happens if somebody leaves? What happens if somebody loses a card? You can now manage this all from one portal. These portals are web-based and Wi-Fi based, so you can be anywhere on campus. So if somebody loses a card, you can reissue a new one. You can grant access to, again, cashless payments or vending machines or doors from where you're sat in your office. You can also revoke credentials. So if you need to remove somebody from the system, you can do that instantly. And the great one is now you can set rules and actions. So for example, if a card's not been used for 3 months, it automatically drops off the system. So you don't have to worry about security moving forward. Thanks, Adam. So what does implementing these changes mean to you? It gives you the ability to enroll, print, and manage credentials anywhere on campus. In practice, this is where it saves 40% of your workload. Last year, I witnessed a university print 15,000 cards and manage the full enrollment solution within 2 weeks. And it was only 3 people that looked after everything. As stated earlier, it's my role to make your job as easy as possible. So if you have any questions or things we discussed today, I'm sure we can look at that again. Thanks, Adam. So let's have a look at the time savings. We're now going to introduce an automated pre-enrollment, instant document and ID verification solutions, contactless credential issuance, an overhead reduction in technical support and ICT, centralized system integration. Now, looking at the three pillars we talked about, data capture and verification, the issuance of the card or credential, and then the management, which of these would help you?
Thanks, Darren. So just to step in there, you should be able to see on screen now a little poll just for some attendee feedback. So again, I'm going to launch that now. If you could just complete that for us, only take a couple of seconds. It'd be valuable for us to use post-event. So that should be visible now on screen. Fantastic to see people filling it in. I'll leave it open for about another 10 seconds. We're halfway through. Brilliant. That looks like we've got everybody filled in. Thank you very much for that. Just going to end the poll now. So bringing us to the end of today's event. I hope you found it useful. I hope you found it valuable and have seen where Digital ID can help you in terms of those time savings and the reduction of the staff workload. Now, appreciate there may be some questions. Rather than answer those questions online directly, what we're going to do in a second, again, similar to the poll, you'll see a Q&A prompt. If you do have a question, please leave it in there for us. What we'll do then is Darren and the team will go away, they'll review all questions, and post-event, you'll get a full breakdown of all the question answers along with a copy recording. I hope you found today's event useful and helpful in terms of your next stages of your issuing and printing cards for 2023. Darren, have you got a final word you'd like to say?
Yes, thanks for everyone that's joined today. I'm sure we'll be speaking soon and I'll be back on the road shortly. So yeah, make sure you've got that kettle on. Speak to you soon.
Thanks, Darren. So Q&A section is now open. It's going to stay open for around about 5 minutes. If you haven't got any questions, hope you enjoy the rest of your today and thank you very much for attending. Some great questions already coming in. Like I say, if you do have a question, please feel free to post it there. We'll leave it open now for another couple of minutes. And again, enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you. Just going to leave the Q&A section open now for a further minute. Any final questions, please post them now before we end. Many thanks. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's event. From myself, Darren, and the wider education team, we hope you found it valuable. We will follow up with a copy of the webinar and the Q&A section. Thanks for attending, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.